Internet's Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, your family, your friends, your neighbor, your cousin. It's a new year. It's a new day. But it's really, to me, it's new year, new opportunities. Let's all get to them. Let's pray for our blessings, but let's be determined and work hard to get where we need to fucking get. Okay? It's been very hard this, end of the year with losing Combat. He was more than just somebody that I, done a bunch of things with in the podcast world. He was a big brother to me. He was a friend, and more importantly, he was a voice that resonated with people worldwide. So he was loved by many, and I'm glad to see the outpouring support and love for him. So, rest in peace, Combat Jack, but more importantly, we will continue to raise the bar and continue to shine that light and keep the legacy alive, because we are Combat Jack Show forever, and being a product of that for so many years, man, we're going to keep the light shining, Reg. We're going to keep it shining. I know you're looking down on me. I hope you're not wearing jorts up there or turtlenecks. I just want to let you know that I love you, brother, and I'm proud to have been a part of something that I know was so happy for you to do. When we were at your memorial and we left, I came outside and a lady tapped me on the shoulder and she says, "Hey, are you Premium Pete?" And I was like, "Yes, how can I help you?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm a doctor at Mount Sinai Hospital." And, I was with Reggie till the end, and he told me how much that he loved you and how much he really enjoyed, doing the Combat Jack Show and making it what it is with you and a bunch of other people. And I was like, it was like really good to hear that, he has told me that, but it just was really good to hear that. And just to see how many people came out in the memorial, how many people showed love, and how many people he resonated with, man, it just goes to show you that leave a legacy behind. Like, whatever you do, like, don't just do shit to do shit. Do shit that could be left behind. Do shit that people could, always remember you by. Ask yourself, without getting all fucking philosophical. Like, what's your legacy? What are people going to remember you when you go? And, Combat, I want to let you know, man, they remembered you and they love you. And I always used to, I said this, I think last episode with the Remembering Combat Jack episode we did with Dallas Penn, which was dope. I really liked that we were able to get some people on the phone like Killer Mike and Elliot Wilson and my brother A. King and Jay Slayer and Bumby. There's so many people, that loved Combat, and the outpour and the love was crazy. So, again, Reggie Osei, a.k.a. Combat Jack, loved my brother. And I remember you always used to tell me, "Yo, Pete, you think they fuck with us? You think they're listening?" Well, let me tell you something. They've been listening. Yesterday, today, and forever. Love you, brother. Rest in peace, Combat Jack. On a higher note, I do want to mention, and I'm very proud, that the You Gotta Eat This Ewing 33 highs are available worldwide on ewingathletics.com. Go cop yourself a pair. Originally, when we dropped it, me and Bum B designed these sneakers in the love of sushi, so everything is sushi. The shoe sports a salmon and a tuna upper. It has white sole for the rice. The back has a chopstick heel tap strap, and a heel strap tab. What the hell's the matter with me today? And the wasabi inner liner. ewingathletics.com. Man, I'm so that was a highlight too at the end of the year, to be able to design my own sneaker, and not just Premium Pete. It was me, Bum B, and You Gotta Eat This partner with Ewing Athletics, and really to give it a story like the sushi. Man, thank you to everyone who copped the pair. Thank you to everyone who liked it or shared it, and more importantly, even though that we're in the new year, thank you to everyone last year who listened to an episode, told a friend about an episode, blogged about it, liked it, retweeted it, shared it. Thank you. And we're going to continue, okay, in the remembrance of our friend Combat Jack, to raise the bar this year. Look for all different type of episodes to drop. I'm excited about that. I've also told people last year to email me their podcast. Don't just send me a podcast and don't write none. Tell me what the fuck it's about. And plenty of people have emailed me at thepremiumpeteshow@gmail.com. They emailed thepremiumpeteshow@gmail.com. And let me tell you something. The end of the year got busy, but I got all your emails. And the people who have emailed, I'm going to get back to. Maybe I'll answer back, give you a couple of pointers, being that I've been doing the podcast game for so long. Or maybe we'll jump on a phone call. And if you out there and you're listening just now and haven't did that, thepremiumpeachshow@gmail.com. Shoot me your podcast. Let's help further the podcast community. If I think that it sounds terrible, I had to tell you, get better sound, or your show's not going to get better. One thing that content is important, but it's got to sound good. I think that's really important. Internet, so let me tell you something. Starting off the year 2018, like I said in the beginning, it's new year, new opportunities. I'm out here raising my baby boy, presents over presents, loving that. I'm loving that my daughter's been accepted to some colleges. I'm a proud father, and about to ship her away next year, and as she goes to grow up, and I'm excited about that. But more importantly, the first episode of the year is with a guy that I've been trying to get on the show for a long time. Excuse me. Victor Cruz, New York Giant football player, but more importantly, a real fashion guy, real street culture guy, but really just like a dude that I always felt that there wasn't an episode out there that really painted this guy's full story and journey. I mean, think about it. I'm going to say it in the episode, but a kid from fucking Paterson, New Jersey, plays for the Giants and then wins a fucking Super Bowl. Come on, man. Talk about writing down some of your goals. Internet, we get into everything about Victor Cruz. Everything from, playing football for the Giants or playing college or his father or, having his own sneaker, dating Carucci, dealing with the media. Internet, okay? You want to get ready for some salsa? Or get ready for Victor Cruz. I present to you the Premium Pete Show episode with Victor Cruz. Let's get to it. Cheer.
Come on, everybody get set, let's go. It's the next episode. It's the Premium Pete Show. News, interviews, all of the info. Listen up, it's the Premium Pete Show. If you want the scoop in the low, down low, listen to the show, cause Milk said so. Fuck what you heard, better act like you know. It's the Premium Pete Show.
Internet, welcome back to another episode of the Premium Pete Show. Sitting here with my guy, long time trying to, let me tell you something. Multiple episodes I say this, so the internet's listening and realize I'm like, I always mention this, I'm going to say it fucking again. It's the follow-up. People always ask me, too, being in the podcast game for a long time, people ask me, like, how do you get a certain guest, or how do you do this? Man, it's the fucking follow-up, because people are busy, then yourself could be busy, and sometimes people take shit personal. So after a long time of trying to get this motherfucker on the show, my guy Victor Cruz is here.
What's going on, baby? Happy to be here.
Man, listen,
it's an honor.
Well, first of all, thank you for that, man. When we were talking off air, I was like, I don't think I've heard personally an episode where people could even really know who the fuck Victor Cruz is.
Yeah.
Okay, so, New York will say, like, oh, he's a Giant. Salsa in the end zone. Some people say, like, oh, he wants to work at Kith, I'm sure you've seen people say that shit.
Yeah, I get that.
But people don't know who the fuck maybe you really are. Yeah. So right off the bat, we'll start off. You grew up in Paterson, New Jersey.
Yes, sir.
Mom and dad?
Mom and dad grew up in Paterson, New Jersey. I was born in 1986.
Dominican?
Puerto Rican.
Okay.
Don't ever get that.
I'm sorry.
Why is there such a beef? Why is there such a beef with that? Don't leave this room miscommunicating that to nobody. It can get really crazy out there.
What's the difference of Puerto Rican culture versus Dominican culture?
It's not many things other than there's a dialect difference and there's just a sense of pride, I think, is more so what it is. It's not necessarily, I mean, there's little subtle things, obviously, that as Puerto Ricans, can point out to Dominicans. Dominicans can point out on us, too. But I think it's more so about the sense of pride you have in your culture, who you are. So, so my mom's Puerto Rican, my pops is black. Man, I grew up in a predominantly single-parent household. My mom's,
Why is that? Why is that?
Well, my mom and dad just weren't together when I was born, and when I started to come up, he just didn't come around until I was 7. I met my pops when I was 7.
Do you know why? Did he ever tell you why?
No, I think it was just a thing where, my mom's was being a certain way and dad was giving some pushback. And it was just a lot of moving parts to that. And then, so they never told me why, but I just took it for what it was. So I met him when I was 7, and then from there we built on a great relationship. I met my brother at that time too. I have an older brother. What up, Malik? And then I also have an older sister that I had obviously communicated with throughout my entire childhood. And then I have a younger sister on my mother's side who's going to be 23 years old tomorrow.
Well, happy early born day. You know, what did moms do?
So mom's was a customer service representative at Benjamin Moore and Company.
That sounds so fucking professional.
For real.
You talking about the paint shit?
The paint joint. But she worked obviously in corporate and worked in the customer service department.
Okay, nice.
So she would drive like roughly 45 minutes to and from work. So 2-hour commute just to get there and back.
You know, when I look at myself, my daughter is going to be 18. But when she was 2, me and her mother separated. We got divorced. And I don't think she ever got a chance to really even understand what it was like for us to be together.
Yeah.
And I do believe that doesn't affect kids, in my opinion, as much as, say, you break up or divorce when you're, say, a teenager. Did you even know what was going on that you didn't have a mother and father living together?
I thought it was. I didn't even. It was crazy, Pete, is that when I didn't know that there was a difference until I got to school. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, well, everybody must. Because all my friends, none of their dads were there. Maybe one of my friends growing up on my block, his pops was there, but it was just like, oh, that's his pops. Like, whatever. You didn't think about society and culture and how that kind of shaped who you were. You know what I mean? We didn't think about it like that. So I thought it was the norm until I got to school and got to class. And they're like, yeah, you know, we start going stories and we're doing certain projects or whatever the case may be. And everybody's talking about their dad, waking up with their dad doing this in the same house, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, why I'm not doing that? You know what I'm saying? Where's Pops at? Why am I not? You know, so I had a couple questions early on in life, but as you get older, you start to understand and go, oh, okay. You know, I see what happened. Did
you ever feel like, you know, a lot of kids get into trouble when they find out things like that? You know, sometimes that, you know, spirals them down to, you ever get into trouble young?
I mean, yeah, obviously, yeah. I was in tons of trouble. Mostly had to do with women, just being young and being a kid in grammar school and running around and
stick and move,
all that good. Yeah, that's it. Bob and weave, Bob and weave. But yeah, I was getting in trouble. I was doing things. I mean, we had something called demerits in grammar school, where if you got a certain number of demerits, you couldn't go. Like if you got 25 demerits, you couldn't go to prom, and if you got 30 demerits, you couldn't go to graduation. So I finished the year with like 38 demerits. So I couldn't do either of the two, but I got a scholarship to go to high school. So my parents were like,
scholarship in what?
In football.
Really? And how did that even, when did you, you know, it's funny.
I want to be honest, Pete, it was pretty illegal. I'm not going to front. It was one of those, like, I don't know, I'm not incriminating anybody because everybody that gave me that money is no longer doing what they're doing. So it was literally like a booster. It was like, yo, we're going to pay for you to go to this high school.
So they saw something in you?
1,000%.
Really? It must have been some Patterson Mafia guys.
He was definitely Italian, by the way.
Paulie Walnuts? Yeah.
It might have been.
What about Christopher Moltisanti? Did you get to meet him when he did the kid shit?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. He's the
How
coolest,
is he, man?
So
I would have told him,
cool.
listen, I thought you said I was a right spider.
He was super chill.
Yeah.
And we talked about obviously that and a bunch of other shit. But he was super cool.
You know, going back to getting a scholarship, you know, how long your pops passed away? When was that? Was that later on in life? Or?
I was 20 years old.
Okay, so we got some time for that.
Yeah.
So you get the scholarship, and mom's is happy, pops is happy.
Mom's is okay. She was obviously still upset that I was, didn't make it to prom or graduation, none of that. But she was okay because she's like, okay, high school is a new leaf. You're gonna be a different person. Blah blah blah. I initially go to a school called Passaic County Tech, which is a public school. Great school, but it was a vocational school. So it was like you would go there and, you know, be in wood shop all day if that's what you chose to do as your profession or as your career that you chose to do throughout high school. So my parents, that and on top of playing ball and playing football and basketball and all that good stuff. So my parents thought that I should be getting a different type of education as well as a different type of athletic experience. So Patterson Catholic High School was a more competitive sports high school. And
how the fuck did they know that?
I mean, you just know.
Just from the neighborhood?
City,
you didn't know that. You just trusted
I knew that, but I just felt like, yo, I'm a talented dude. If I go to Passaic County Tech or Patterson Catholic, I'm gonna still figure it out and do what I need to do with my talent level. I'm gonna just put it out there and see what happens. Either way, whether I was there or whether I was over here, it's just a matter of how much better am I gonna get against this type of talent. And the education factor was on the back, on the backside of that. It was like a twofold kind of thing.
Now, did you visit any schools, like, later on? Or
going to college?
Then?
Yeah. Yeah, I visited Hofstra. I visited Clemson. I visited UMass, obviously. I visited, where else did I go? I went to the University of Virginia.
What were, like, the scholarship visits like?
Fun. You go there and you have the initial part is like you meet the coaches and they take you on a little tour and they take you around the campus and show you around and all that.
It's not like He Got Game, right?
I'm gonna plead the fifth on that one.
Okay, thank you.
But they show you around and then after that you go to dinner and then you have a host. So one of the guys that are already on the team kind of hosts you. Either go out, have a drink, have fun, show you what the college atmosphere is like at night, and then you go from there.
So you went to how many, Hofstra?
I went to Hofstra. I went to University of Virginia. I went to Clemson. I went to UMass. I think that was it. That was 4.
And which one did you wind up picking?
I ended up picking UMass, University of Massachusetts, mainly because, they were the only ones that gave me they were the only ones that offered me a scholarship. Every other school brought me in for an unofficial visit. So there's all these little rules with the NCAA. But UMass was the only one that gave me a scholarship, and the guy that coached there was from Paterson, New Jersey. And he was the one that came and kind of made sure I was good and brought me around and all that. So once I saw that, I was like, yo, this guy's from my hood and he made it through and he's a coach and he's making X amount a year. I'm like, at the very least, I'm going to be that. So I'll take that. You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you something. How crooked, and I'm not putting you on the spot, but I mean, it's a real question. How crooked do you think the NCAA is?
Oh, man. Extremely. I mean, if you look at it just from a financial standpoint alone, you're using these kids, right, that become personalities, especially over the past, 10 years now? Kids in college are becoming personalities. If you look at Johnny Manziel, if you look at Cam Newton, if you look at, even Deshaun Watson, as like you see these guys, they become personalities well before they're in the National Football League or the NBA. And you're selling product with these guys' numbers on them. They may not have their names, but if you're selling it within that year, and some of these are blatant, like some colleges, have a guy dabbing on a T-shirt, but it's not Cam Newton's number on it. But it's Cam Newton. You know what I mean? Like, so they're selling this product, but you're not getting anything for it. They're using your name and likeness, and it's pretty much boosting the entire economy for that specific college campus or for that specific program. But the kid or the student doesn't see any of that money.
Everybody's making money except for the kids.
Exactly.
But check this out, and this is what people say. They're getting a free ride to school. But let me ask you something. How long did you play in the NFL?
7 years.
7 years. It's not long enough to keep you good for the rest of your life.
Not even close.
So don't you think some of these kids, and there should be a scale of how good you are, should get paid?
1,000%. I think it should definitely be scaled in terms of not only how good you are, but what type of. I think it should scale from like in high school. Remember, they gauge your family's income, and you got a card depending on whatever your family makes. I think if you come in and they gauge your family's income coming in, they should determine, okay, you're a little well off. This guy from Compton that plays wide receiver for us, his mother doesn't even have a pot to piss in. So let's give him X amount and give you X amount because that's how it should balance out. You know what I'm saying?
And you know what it also does is, and it's crazy that life doesn't evolve like this. And that's the problem with NCAA, college football. These kids go from making no money to making tons of fucking money. Like, honestly, we're bouncing around now. We'll get back to some things, but you come into football, you weren't making a lot of money. Then there must have been a point in time where you were making big money. I remember talking with Rod Strickland. I remember him telling me that he went from I don't know, like a couple $1,000 in his bank account at the most, and then he was getting NBA was putting every other week like $200,000 in.
It's insane.
I'll
never forget the first check I got in the National Football League when I was like a rookie, and I picked up my check and I was like, oh snap, I made the team.
What was it looking like?
This is the first check, and I'm opening it up, and it was, I was undrafted free agent, so I wasn't a first round pick or nothing like that, right? So I pick up the check. It's $10,000.
10 grand.
I look at this check. I look around. I was like, man, I got to make sure I put this in my pocket right now. Because if I lose this or...
It was signed from the Giants?
John Mara, the NFL, God. Whole thing.
You ever take a picture of that?
My mother has it framed. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
My mother has that thing framed.
See, but people don't... Not saying all, but probably not every NFL player cherishes that moment. If they didn't grow up... Like, the other day I put, like... I was in Walmart, and my lady was like, yo, pick us up some Cinnamon Toast Crunch. So I picked up this family-size Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and I walked by, I seen, I think it was like, I forgot what it's called, like cinnamon love. Like, it was like the bootleg bag one.
Gotcha, okay.
And I was like, damn, man. I took a picture, and I was like...
Cinnamon squares or something.
Yeah, I was like, if I didn't have cinnamon, say, squares growing up, I would have never knew how good Cinnamon Toast Crunch is when I was able to... And, I do believe in that. I do believe that, that people who never been there before can value and appreciate it. But we're set up for failure if people don't teach us, meaning how to manage our money. How do you come into the NFL, NBA, wherever, making no money from college? Think about it. I mean, I don't want to harp on it, but it's like...
of course.
And fucking... How did you manage this shit?
I mean, it was about my support system. I think a lot of these kids don't have... someone in their corner to tell them, hey, don't spend that. I know I know we're going from nothing to having a lot, but don't spend it all, dog, because we're going to need that. You're going to need that later on in life. When it's all said and done, you're going to need this money to live on. You play this game, the average lifespan in the NFL is, I think it's like 3.5 years now, not even. So like, you got 3.5 years to maximize, in the NFL at least, to maximize your potential to make the maximum amount of money. And you only have 3.5 years. So how are you going to position yourself mentally, physically, and emotionally to max out this time so you can potentially stretch that time out more and continue to accrue money so that you can be more well off on the back end in the future? I mean, a lot of guys don't have that person in their crew to tell them, yo, don't spend that. Let's get this financial advisor. Let's put money in trust. Let's put money away. Let's save it. Let's invest it. Bitcoin.
Did you fuck with that early?
I can't fuck with that, man.
No? Did you ever fuck with it?
I need to see my money. Like I need to. I'm just not.
What have you invested in? Because you know what? That's important for people listening 100%. To hear. Like, yo, you played football, you made money. Okay, you did it, and we'll get into some other things. I know you definitely did some sponsorship and shit like that.
I've invested in, well, there's one brand I want to talk about, at least one of my investments. It's called Kanga. I think it's an app. It's out there. It's available now. It's basically...
Is that Kanga?
That's it. Kanga, Kanga. And it's basically Instagram format, but every photo that I post, I can tag each and every brand that I'm wearing. Anything from a freaking ring from Swarovski to a shoelace through a hoodie that's a discus shoelace or whatever. I can tag that, and you can go to that brand and buy that shoelace right from that app. And it goes directly to your home or whatever the case may be. So I'm excited about that app.
It's already out there?
It's already out there. You can download it now. We're just working on getting some more investors before we throw the big shebang out there. But it's definitely live and ready.
What about some property? Do you believe in
I do believe in that. I'm literally getting into that right now. I just met some people that kind of opened my eyes to it. And the way to do it and kind of guide me along the right way. So that's definitely the next phase.
Something that I think that I've realized, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I want to hear your struggles with it or what your, how you move about it. Okay, so Victor Cruz, you win a Super Bowl, you want to play with the Giants. You also know how to move. And what I mean by that is friends with a bunch of people. Like a true, even though you're from Jersey, true like New Yorker, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We know how to move, we know how to mingle. We may be, like here, I remember times where I was hanging out with people, fucking millionaires, and I think I had $200 in the bank. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here? Not saying that's you, but what I'm saying is you're definitely hanging with people who may be 10 times bigger than you.
Yeah.
Money-wise and everything.
Absolutely.
You ever ask yourself, like, not why do I belong, but like, what's my place?
All the time. I mean, I always think about, how did I get here? Like, why? I don't believe in coincidence. I think everything happens for a reason. I think I'm supposed to know these people for a reason. I think I'm supposed to be around this group of people for a reason. It's just a matter of, using your mind and using your brain to figure out what that reason is. You know what I mean? And figuring out how you can connect the dots, how you can use these people as resources to improve your brand, their brand, your friendship even. Like, there's always creative ways to do that, and I think that there's a reason why I'm around these people. And every day is, I always ask myself, like, man, you're extremely blessed, because not only are you not supposed to be doing what you're doing, but you've overcome so many obstacles and overcome so many different things that it's remarkable, the things that I've been able to accomplish, and it's been nothing but a blessing from God.
I look at like a lot of your run, and it's funny that you've been setting yourself up for after football without even realizing it. In my opinion, I'm not saying that you don't know what the fuck you're doing, but I'm saying it's like, that's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
And I've been happy to see that, because I think that what you're tapping into, most people, it's not easy to do that. And what I mean by that is building relationships. We talk about being around different people, but nobody ever thinks about how we could create with other people.
Exactly.
Just because I may not be rich, but my knowledge and this can maybe get me into a company that you want, and you're like, yo, I want to bring you on, bring you some equity. Who the fuck knows? These things happen.
100%.
And it's been great to see. I want to step back to you go to college, you go to UMass.
Yep.
How long did you stay there?
So college wasn't too peachy, man. So the first year in college, well, I got kicked out of college twice. So the first year in college, this first semester, I come in, I'm like, yo, I'm a hooper. I mean, I'm a hooper. I think I'm a hooper. But I'm a football player. They're going to pass me. I don't need to really go to all these classes. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to make my way through. Ended up getting like 3 Ds and 2 Fs or some shit like that. And then I was on probation that year. Came back the next year, couldn't get myself out of the hole. I ended up getting kicked out of school for academic issues after that year. So I'm home, I'm taking community college courses right in the hood in Patterson. And everybody's kind of looking at me and they're like, yo, what's good? Like, how you home already? Like, just got there. You've been there a year. You got a scholarship. Like, what's up? I'm kind of hiding from people, barely want to be around friends. This is for a whole semester, a whole 3 months, 4 months, whatever it was. And I had to, do it the hard way. I did what I had to do, got back in school. Had to get over a 2.5 GPA, was behind the 8 ball and couldn't figure it out. Failed that semester, got sent home again. So they have a 3-strike policy, obviously, in college. If you get kicked out academically 3 times,
really?
They don't let you back in. So the last time, I take more community college courses just so I could stay afloat and stay on track. And then, boom, I go back for the last time. And I'm like, all right, I picked a major. I double majored in African American history and communications. And I was like, I got to do this. This is like something just clicked and was like, I got to make this happen. Mind you, because I was academically ineligible, I didn't play football those first 2 years either. So I go back, choose a major, get to my, get the grades I needed to get that year, that semester. Ended up playing ball, killing it. Had my best season, over 1,000 yards receiving, like 8 touchdowns, 70-something catches. It was just like
talk about it.
It was just like it was one of those years that you like, okay, now the stars are aligning. Now I got it figured out. Now I'm coming into my own a little bit, and it was all paying off. But man, those 2 years, those 2 semesters down, being home, staring at my friends.
How did you not? Were you depressed?
A little bit. My dad passed away when I, in that year where I was home.
Before you even made it to the NFL.
So before I even made it to the NFL. So he's never seen me play. A lot of people don't know this, but he's never seen me play at the collegiate level, and he's never seen me play at the pro level either, which is crazy.
Do you remember your last conversation with Pops?
My last conversation with Pops, we were talking about, what were we talking about? Oh, last conversation we had, we were talking about my sister, my oldest sister, and we were just talking about our feelings towards her. I think she was pregnant at the time, and we were having a conversation, and we were just talking. And, he was giving me his opinion, I was giving him mine. We may not have agreed on different things, but we just, we had an open conversation. Maybe one of the most open conversations we've had, and most adult-like conversations we've had, in a long time, maybe ever. Because I was, 19, 20 years old at the time, and I was, coming into my own, thought I was a man, and wanted to express my opinions about certain things, and we had that conversation. It was healthy. I think we needed to have it so we can establish that, where I was in my life and him accepting me for what I was at the moment.
You ever hold a grudge, or you forgave Pop for all those times he wasn't there?
Yeah, I forgave him a long time ago. I understand. I can
I think as you get older too,
you get
understand.
it. Yeah, you figure it out, man, and you understand circumstance, and you understand just who you are and how you are as a person. I thank him for coming back at some point and not just saying
Giving
forget
up,
it forever. He came back and was like, okay, I'm gonna be a man and take care of my business and do what I need to do with my children.
You have a daughter. You how old is she?
5 years old.
5 years old, man.
She'll be 6 January 9th, actually.
Man, that shit time it goes by so fast, man. My daughter's gonna be 18. It's insane to even. I miss those days, man.
I'm not ready for none of that 18.
Get yourself another gun. Don't worry about it. I asked you that because do you see yourself and have you been trying to, and not meaning like, but be a better father. Not saying that your father was bad, but have you been finding yourself to go above and beyond for your daughter more than your father ever did?
100%.
With that in the mindset.
100%. I mean, it's something that follows me every day. Like, I always think about there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about what can I do for her? How can I improve her life? How can I just spend time with her? How can I maximize my time with her? What activities can I do to stimulate her mind and make sure she's smart and make sure she's healthy, and what is she eating? I mean, it's just everything under the sun. Because that's your child, and you want to give her more than what you ever had without spoiling them. Without it's always a balance, and the grandparents don't help at all. But
hey, listen, I always preach this motto, and a lot of friends and internets live by it: presence over presence, meaning always. And the time you spend with your kid, I always use for example. I got divorced when my daughter was 2 years old. I bought her maybe 1,000 Barbies. She don't remember that, but every Friday. For like 10 years, I used to take her to the movies. She never forgot that.
Yeah.
And she may not remember there was, 500 movie tickets, but I put them all in a Nike box. But the point I'm making is that she remembered that time.
Yeah.
And that stayed cemented. But sometimes, I'll be honest with you, there is presence with presence, too.
Yeah.
Like, if you give your kid a football, you got to go and fucking throw that fucking thing and catch it.
100%.
Some parents are like, yo, go outside, go play hide and go fuck yourself.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly. Everything that I do is definitely interactive with her. So she's on this Uno thing now. So she likes playing Uno with me and figuring out the game, and she hates to
skip,
lose.
reverse.
All of that.
Draw four.
Draw four.
Yeah, I love Uno, man.
It's a good game, yo. I fell back in love with it with her. Like, I was just
you
like,
know what
yo.
I fucking love too? LCR. You ever play that shit? With the dice where you got to roll it, and it's like, listen, during the holidays or during parties or whatever, LCR, man, it's a dice game.
Okay.
And it's literally...
Toys R Us?
You can buy it in Toys R Us,
okay,
yeah.
I gotta find
but
it.
It's it's such a fun game, man. Like, adults will love it. Like, play with your grandmother. Your nephews will love it, too, because they get a chance to win money.
Yeah.
Classic game.
Okay.
But more importantly, did you ever get married?
I did not.
Okay.
I did not.
Now,
I was engaged, but I did not get married.
was she your high school sweetheart?
Yes. Well, we met the summer after my high school senior year. Yeah. So we met right after high school. The
reason I asked that for, and I know, as somebody being divorced, how hard is that to be with someone where things like your whole life kind of changed without changing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's tough because you're one you change as a person and you grow and you meet them when you're so young that you're not even your real self. You don't even know your real self then. You just know what's put in front of you and what's being molded for you at the moment, but you don't know who you are really. And then to have this person with you and to grow with this person is sometimes you grow apart, sometimes you grow together. You never know. But to have that person there through those times is definitely something to be said about that, something in a positive way, because you have someone that cares about you so much that they want to be with you through the good and the bad. There's something to be said about that. But as you continue to grow, sometimes you grow apart. And sometimes that's, no matter who's the microcosm of that, you have to look out for your own individual happiness. And that's the biggest key, is being happy, because you could be together miserable, and then that's not going to do anything for your child, for yourself, for your own psyche. You're not going to be your best self. So you need to find whatever's going to be your best self. And if that's being individual, and if that's being by yourself and not being, a part of your significant other's life, then so be it.
When you have a kid with somebody, it's very, very tough to reach common ground. And it's crazy too. And without getting to full in your full business, because this is not no fucking gossip show. But I'm bringing this up only for a point to explain this. You're in the spotlight, catching touchdowns for the New York Giants, living your dream, but the media is so powerful. You know, and then bringing up the point, even like with when you were married, not married, when you and they're trying to say you had. First of all, how the fuck does people say you had 200 side chicks?
Can I just say something?
Yo, 200. Yo, if you had 200 side chicks, I want to end this fucking thing right now.
First of all, listen to me. It is.
I love you, man.
There aren't enough hours
to the 200
day
side chicks
to even maintain 200. I could barely maintain my mom and sister on a daily basis, let alone two. Stop it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know where this comes from, to be honest.
You know, the reason why I brought this up is for a main point is this, for people who have been in situations like that, because there's tons out there, not just Victor Cruz's.
100%.
How, and when I say common ground is, okay, this happened, but you still obviously in your daughter's life, you still this. It's tough sometimes to get past to like what happened between y'all and just worry about the kid. Did you get there yet? Has it been tough? We're
there. I think we just got there.
Yeah,
it takes time, man, and it's tough. And even now, it's still touch and go a little bit. But I think we're there. I think we're realizing that it's about our daughter.
Sure.
And that's the biggest thing. That's the only thing. You know what I mean? And however we set her up for success is up to us.
Yeah.
Just because we aren't together doesn't mean we can't be the best parents in the world. You know what I'm saying? So, and make Kennedy feel like this is as seamless as physically possible, that she still sees both her parents as much as possible.
And knows that you both love her.
And knows that we both love her very, very much and would do anything for her. So I think with those things in mind, we understand like, okay, we can get past with the things we need to get past and move forward and be just the strongest presence in our daughter's life.
Yo, besides teammates, 'cause I'm sure teammates laughed at you for 200 side chicks. Did any like ownership or fucking Jerry Reese and them say something to you?
Nah, nobody said nothing to me. Thank God.
But
there were like some coaches and stuff that kind of was busting my chops a little bit, running upon me like, bruh, 200, bruh. I'm like, Coach, back up, bro. Like, we're not doing this today, okay?
Fall
we got
back,
a game.
bro.
We got a game this
prepare.
week. You know what I'm saying? But
a lot of those guys, you're probably their idol if they think that's true.
Yo, I was just about to say that. People were calling me the GOAT and like, yo, Vic's the man. I'm just like, yo, this isn't the type of love I want right now.
Yo, the media, and we'll take a break soon, but the media has been, fans love you, bro. And you did something, especially I think like you did, again, and this is what I'm going to go to. And when we end this episode, you're going to see exactly where I take this. You did something different. Just like as you're preparing for your after football life without even fucking knowing it. Mm-hmm. Getting into streetwear and doing different things and investing. But then you look at it, you score a touchdown, and we got to get to even how you fucking got to the fucking football, but you do a salsa. Who the fuck ever did a salsa? What made you even do that? Because that was different. I think that caught people's eyes.
So obviously I'm Puerto Rican, like we talked about earlier.
Of course.
Obviously, I got a little bit, I can move a little bit. Grandma, I made sure that I got right. Growing up, she made sure that she handled it.
Está loca, dale huevo.
My grandmother made sure I learned all the dance. Like, I had the moves down. She wasn't playing no games with that. So as I got older, whatever, I wasn't necessarily a dancer. I knew how to dance. I attended an inordinate amount of Sweet 16s, so I know how to dance. I know how to,
especially in Jersey, bro.
Oh my God, it's not even. But I just have family, cousins, and all types of females and women that just wanted me in a part of their party, and you got to get the suit and the tuxedo. Yeah, so the whole thing. So I get to the league. I'm making my first start as a New York Giant, number 80, week 3.
Let's actually, instead of even waste time, yo.
Okay.
Go ahead. Week 3, go ahead.
So
number 80, week 3. Why number 80?
Week 3. So it chose me.
Okay.
I didn't have a choice. And then I'm in the 80. I'm out there practicing, getting ready for that week. And Coach Mike Sullivan, who's the offensive coordinator for the Giants, he was the quarterback's coach at the time. And he walks up to me. He was like, yo, you do that. You get in that end zone, bro. Like, you got to do something for the people. He was half Mexican. So he was like, you got to do something to represent the people. Like, and I'm like, Coach, what do you want me to do? I can't, cook plátanos in the end zone. Gee, I can't, make, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what you want me to do. So he goes, yo, he was like, you got to do that salsa. You know how to do that, right? Like, you know how to dance? I was like, yeah, I know how to dance. But, you want me to dance in the end zone? He's like, yeah, that's the only way. That's the only way to do it. And I was like, just to get him out of my face, I'm like, all right, Coach, this is my first start. I'm just trying to make sure I catch the ball.
Sure.
And don't fumble and get as many yards as possible and get the hell out of bounds. That's it. So I get to the game all week. I'm telling you, he told me this every single day until I had to shoo him away. So all week he's telling me this, and then Sunday comes around. Everybody's, getting ready for the game. He sees me before the game. He gives me a wink. And we always said a prayer or whatever before the game began. He always says like a prayer to me. And then done, we start playing. My first catch, first catch of the game. I'm going up the sideline. I shake two defenders.
Was that versus the Jets?
That was versus the Eagles. The Jets was the preseason game. So that happened the year prior. But this is the first official start, regular season, the whole thing. First catch, I shake two defenders, and I'm going up the sideline. I'm like, yo, I'm about to score this. Yeah, I'm about to score this touchdown. And
now, when you're running like that, do you see anybody behind you?
No, I'm looking up at the screen. So there's a screen. It's real cocky shit, but if you look up at the screen while you're running, you can see who's behind you. You can kind of sort. So I was looking up, nobody was there. So I was like, all right, bet. I'm at the 3-yard line. Like, yo, I gotta do this dance now. It popped up to the forefront of my brain. And then as soon as I got in the end zone, I just put the ball down and I started dancing. And we were in Philly, so I'm looking at all the Philly fans sad and crying and pointing at me.
You piece of shit.
Exactly. And I'm like, oh, I'm dancing for y'all for sure today. So that's where it started. And then every week I just started to do better and better and catch touchdown after touchdown. And then it just became a thing.
You sometimes seem media trained. How the fuck did that happen, bro?
I don't know, man. Especially for a dude that got kicked out of school twice, right?
What the fuck?
The thing for me, I think I watched a lot of TV.
Yeah.
Like, whether it be shows or whether it be just growing up or whether it be watching, Jordan and watching guys do interviews. And I was just like, yo, I want to, and even rappers. Like, I always look at rap interviews as like, I was like, yo, if I could give a rap interview, like those rappers be smoking a blunt on the joint, like just being reckless and talking about whatever the hell they want to talk about, or guys like Hove that like give you that inquisitive insight on certain things and still have some swag with it at the same time and still be able to, be slick and smart and, just be able to dance around and do all of that. I always admired that from like different people.
You signed to Roc Nation. Mm-hmm. What was that about? Why?
I think they were doing something special, and I think whenever Jay-Z decides to do something special, he's been pretty successful at it. And then when he sits you down and tells you exactly why he wants to start this business and start this business with someone like myself, a part of the,
You were early on.
I was
that,
early,
right?
yeah. I was one of the first two. It was Robinson Cano. We were all having the talks at the same time. Robinson said yes first. And then I came right after that.
Mm-hmm. Are you still with them?
I'm still with them. Everything's great. I mean, they're a tremendous company. They've been obviously growing rapidly since then. So they're great. I mean, everybody over there treats me with love. It's family at this point. It's not even, I don't even look at it like I'm signed to them. I feel like this is a family thing. And whether I was signed to them or not, it would be family and we would be able to do some type of business together.
Yeah, obviously you ran into the big homie Jay-Z a bunch of times, sat down with him. There's one thing you could say that you learned from those times. What would that be?
Oh man, I think two things. One is always be ahead of the curve. Always, any meeting or any situation or anything you're walking into, always know what they want from you and know what you want to get out of them, and always be ahead of what you think or what you want out of something. Always be ahead of that. Always know what you want and be ahead of the curve. And secondly was never say you won't do something for money unless, for example, if I was to sign, if I had the option of staying with Nike or staying with whoever, Under Armour or Li Ning or whatever the case may be, right? And the numbers are the same. Let's say Nike has 1 million, Li Ning has 1 million. But if Under Armour, you would never wear Under Armour. I would never wear Under Armour. Sure. That's never a brand that I would wear. But if they give you a bag or money that will change your life, you got to take that check. Mm-hmm. You got to entertain that check because it's changing your life. It's changing the scope of how you live and your day-to-day life. It changes that. So you got to at least entertain that because you're not going to have that opportunity over here.
What's the that you signed that one big contract with the Giants, right? Mm-hmm. What was the biggest contract?
That was a 6-year, $49.5 million contract.
Fuck! Did you get all that?
I got a large portion of that.
Motherfucker.
Yeah.
Now I got
enough of it.
You know something that I never know because people always count other people's money, especially athletes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just because it's so public.
Yeah.
You see
how much
it
taxes
flashes
come out?
Oh my
that?
God!
No. See, that's some people don't.
It's
ask.
Insane.
Why don't they? When they know how much you make, why don't they let that know?
It's more so like, damn, why I got to live in Jersey? That's how I feel.
You better go play in fucking
and don't
Green
get it
Bay.
twisted, guys that guys, when the guys are excited about a schedule or they look at a schedule before, when the schedules come out every year, they're like, okay, what teams are we playing against that are in tax-free states so we can get all that bread?
Oh, so you get different money from each game and you play?
Each game. Each city that you play in, you get taxed in that city. So Dallas, no tax. In Texas, obviously. Florida, there's no state tax. Denver, I think, has no state tax. Like, all these little places that you're like, okay, we're going to Denver, we're going to, we play Houston too. We got 2 games in Texas. We good. So guys really, when you get to a certain point, you start opening your checks up and you're like, wow, state taxes, how much? Like, how much they taking out of here? So that's definitely a factor when guys are looking at who we play every year and all that.
A lot of people this day and age in football, concussions are more powerful than injuries are more serious than happening than ever. Why do you think that? Is it people are stronger? Is it the game?
I think so. The game is. I mean, if you look at the game from 50 years ago to now, it's completely changed. Guys are bigger, stronger, faster, and I think the game is almost advancing too fast now. Like where guys are the biggest, the strongest, the fastest, but their body frames are still the same, and your ligaments are still the same. Although the muscles on top of your ligaments may be bigger and stronger, but your ligaments are your ligaments. You don't grow. Your ligaments don't grow.
Sure. So
now that these collisions are happening at a higher speed, at a higher rate, at a higher velocity, even just your push-off, if I'm 265 pounds and I'm running a 4.5 40, 4.65 40, that's what wide receivers run. And I'm 265 pounds. That means my velocity when I put my foot in the ground is so strong that it could literally rip ligaments out. We've seen it when people tear their Achilles just running down the block. And you're just like, whoa, like, how does that happen? That's because so much of your muscle is attached to that area on your legs, on your lower body, but your tendons are still the same amount, you know what I mean? And the muscles are just ripping and pulling and working these tendons over and over and over again.
What's the hardest hit you ever gotten? Who was it by?
Patrick Willis, NFC Division Championship game. I was a sitting duck too, man. It was like an option route. So I would go up, and if it was zone and everybody flattened out, I would kind of sit in this little vacant hole right there, about 5 to 6 yards. And if it was man, I would continue to go across, but it was zone. So I sat back. Patrick Willis is like, probably like 7 yards away from me. So I'm like, okay, that's zone. Let me turn around, catch the ball. Eli waited like a half a second before he threw it to me. And I'm sitting there like, throw it, bro. Like, I'm right here. And he waited like a half a second, threw me the ball. I'm like, okay, he threw it to me on this shoulder. So I know Eli, whatever shoulder he throws it to me on, that's the shoulder he wants me to open up to. So he threw it on this shoulder. I'm like, okay, I'm good. I opened up that way, and literally by the time I blinked and opened my eyes again, Patrick Willis was 2 feet in front of me. And he hit me so hard in my chest, kind of my chest shoulder area. And I hit the ground. I kind of laid there for a couple minutes, wiggled my toes and wiggled my hands, make sure everything was still working. And then I got up and kind of shook it off and kind of got back. But it was a decent collision, I can tell you that.
Sitting here today, 7 years later, do you still feel any effects of playing football?
A little bit. I mean, mainly in my legs, like just when I wake up, just a tiresome. Obviously, in my knee, I had surgery on my knee, so I can literally like guess the weather from my knee. Like if I wake up and it's a little tight, that means it's like muggy out. It's probably gonna rain, things like that. If I wake up and it's like feeling fluid and I'm like feeling good, it's probably sun's out. Probably it's gonna be a nicer day. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. So
funny how
I wake
that works,
up with
right?
some. Yeah, it's so crazy how that works. But I wake up with some ailments. But in comparison to some other guys I speak with, man, I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah. Now, life is after football right now, but do you have any plans on going back, or are you officially going to announce it?
I'm thinking about it. I want to weigh my options out starting next year and see kind of what's out there, what opportunities, if any, are even out there, and then kind of take it from there. But I want to give it one more shot and see what's up.
What now? After the Giants went to the Bears, that didn't work out. What happened over there?
I honestly don't know. I mean, I was doing great. You watched the film. I was balling. I was doing everything I needed to do. But I guess they felt like, Coach Fox literally sat me down in his office and was like, yeah, we want to move in a different direction. And mind you, they had lost both of their starting receivers. They lost for the year. So I'm just like, well, you need receivers.
Yeah, that was hard to see you in a fucking Bear uniform, bro.
Yeah, people were telling me
because I look at you. Yeah, what'd you say?
No. I was just saying how they were. I'm just trying to figure out in my mind how you're cutting me when I'm a veteran receiver that can still play. That shows I can still play. I had 2 touchdowns in the preseason, one in a game that we had within ourselves, and then another game in the preseason. So I'm proving that I can still play at a high level. And you guys, I don't know, you guys are still choosing to go in a different direction. So it was just weird to me on why they would do that, because they have a need at receiver, and you're getting rid of a receiver that can still help you win games, in my opinion. Maybe they didn't feel that way.
Even when we talk about the Giants, and again, we're bouncing around.
How do you feel about the Giants this year, man?
You know what's so funny about people as being a football fan, particularly Giants, and I think you know that. I grew up a Giants fan.
Yeah.
It's funny, too. I think, I may have met you. No, I met you through Ryan Grant at this sneaker thing. But even I remember Ronnie when he introduced you to me. He was like, "Yo, this kid's a hell of a Giant fan."
Yeah.
And him too, and Joe LaPuma, people like that. It's funny to see y'all friends like that now, because they're really Giant fans.
For real, Ronnie tells me yo, you don't play for them anymore. It's hard for me to watch these guys, man. I don't even watch these guys the same. I'm like, yo, stop it.
The problem I have. First of all, with sports fans, as I grew older, as people look at you like, yo, you're a Giant fan? And I'm like, motherfucker, we won 2 Super Bowls in fucking 10 years.
Exactly.
What the fuck are you talking about? I'll never forget me, and when Patriots were playing the Texans, Bum B brought me down to the Patriot to check out the game. We came there, we had Vince Wilfork's tickets, I think.
Gotcha, okay.
And great game. And I'm wearing a Giant hat. I was wearing a Scully. And I go to the bathroom. And I come out of the bathroom, and some guy was like, "Look at this guy, he's wearing a fucking Giants hat." And I'm like, "Bro, we won 2 Super Bowls off you. What the fuck?" And he's like,
Houston hasn't won one yet, right?
No, this was the Patriots.
Oh, it's the Patriots. Okay. It's at the Patriots.
Yeah, they were playing Houston.
Okay.
First round, they smoked them.
Gotcha,
but we went. Bun was supporting Texas, and I went and supported him.
Of course.
But people make fun of that. Look, it's a tough year. The thing that amazes me for the Giants is that they spent so much fucking money and have problems. They never took time to work on offensive line, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm not mad, because, listen, sports to me isn't what sports to me as a kid was. Sports to me is a business. Yep. They need to work on their business. 100%. But more importantly, even think about, and we'll go on a break and you'll tell us about walking us through the injury. But we're talking about not playing you. When you came back for your injury, and you had a new coach, Ben McAdoo, and I'll be honest with you, I would always, when you got hurt, I texted you, or, I always sending you blessings.
Yeah, always.
But what the fuck happened over there? Because, honestly, you still had, in my opinion, had a lot in you. I felt you were a leader, a young kid that turned into a leader on that squad. And they didn't play you at all. There was games that they didn't play. I remember why. You know how I know? Because I'm not into fantasy football anymore. But people were cursing you to fuck. What the fuck, man? This guy Vic, man, got to bench this motherfucker.
It was tough, man. I really didn't know. I mean, it was funny to me because I was always questioning what they would do once I came back, because I saw they obviously drafted Sterling Shepard, who's a phenomenal player. And I'm like, okay, so where am I going to fit in all this? Once they drafted Sterling, I was like, okay, my days are numbered. I knew that.
Did they ever say anything to you?
They never said anything to me at all. I mean, I didn't expect them to, but I just always wanted to know why. I understood the bit. So here's the business side of it, right? So the business side of it is, if I play and I, play well and they extend me and I play and I'm on the roster for next year, they have $1 million bonus, and then they were due to pay me $9.5 million for next year.
Fuck.
Yeah. So
they know the game.
They're looking at it. This is obviously my opinion. This is only my opinion. I'm not blaming them. But I can't help but think this way. They just drafted a young kid in Sterling Shepard. They have Odell Beckham Jr. as well, who's one of the best receivers, if not the best receiver in the National Football League. They have Victor Cruz, who, coming off 2 injuries, is playing. We can't have him do great because it's gonna be hard for us not to pay him the $9.5 million if he comes out here and has 1,000 yards and balls out and all this stuff. Which the first 5 games of the year last year, I was on pace to do. I was on pace. We were all on pace for 1,000 yards, and we were balling. And then right after the midway break, right after the bye week, we came back and we all had a meeting. He's like, all right, we're going to start mixing some guys in. And we're going to start, mixing some young guys in so everybody can stay fresh. So when we get to the playoffs, everybody's fresh. So I'm like, all right. I mean, I don't have a problem with that if everybody's getting mixed in. If myself, Sterling, Odell's Odell, you keep him on the field because he attracts so much attention. But, as long as everybody's getting equal share, whatever, I'm cool. So game one after that rolls around, we're all splitting time, whatever's cool. Next game rolls around, I'm like, okay, Sterling's still in. Okay, but I'm splitting time. All right, cool. Next game, I'm like, okay, I'm the only one getting subbed out. So that's when games like, 0 catches, and I have a conversation with McAdoo, and I'm like, what's up? And, he'll tell me, we're gonna fit you in the offense this year. We're gonna do it.
Do you think he was lying, or you think he really meant that?
I think I'm
not lying.
I don't know. It's tough. I don't know the man enough to judge him in that way. But it felt sincere in the moment. It just felt like he had to say something to me because it spilled out into the media. So we had to at least have a conversation.
But you had to say something. They didn't say something to you.
I had to say something. Yeah. They asked me. I mean, I wasn't a happy camper. I mean, you go out there and you bust your ass all week to prepare for these games, and I'm practicing and things like that, and you want to be able to contribute. My thing about not playing wasn't because I'm like an angry vet that wants to play 100 minutes a game it was like, I feel like I can help y'all, and I've proven that I can help y'all. Sure. And y'all see in the first 5 games that I can help y'all, and y'all are still choosing to move the way you guys are moving.
Do they think that you weren't healed fully from your injury?
Maybe. I could see that. But, I mean, if you put the film on from that last year, there's times where I'm wide open down the field. There's times where...
Oh, yeah, I remember. Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's times where I could have gotten the football, and you see spurts of me being explosive, good, getting off of jams and things like that. So I felt like the ability was still there.
You know what I realized, bro? And I mean this wholeheartedly. Giants don't treat their players well, man. And I mean, look, I'm not putting you in any fucking hole right here. I'm gonna talk about it myself. The way they treated Tom Coughlin was terrible. They treated him very bad, man. I mean, watching him on that press conference was tough. Okay, if you say that,
you could tell he was a little angry.
Yeah,
you could tell he was a little like, man,
motherfuckers put a little extra in this bag, so I'll get up here and talk a little.
Exactly.
Okay, but I'm fucking red. But listen, when Tommy's red, that's one thing I knew. When you knew Tommy was red, you knew shit was official.
He jittery up there. He's like, all right, I got to finish this, and started shaking a little bit.
Yeah.
He's like, all right,
get
him off there. Get him off there.
When Ben had that wet hair, you had to run. You had to run when Ben. No. But real talk, I feel like they didn't treat him well. They didn't treat you well. And that's just my opinion, bro. People who are listening right now, this is my opinion. They did not treat you well. They did not exit you correctly. There's a way you do things, I feel like. And even like, they did not treat Plaxico well, man. They left him in jail, bro. In my opinion, as much as I know.
Yeah.
They left him in jail. You want these people to score for you. You want these people to win games for you. But if they have an issue... But whatever, I just feel like... And I'm a Giant fan, and I feel like, honestly. And then let's get to, recently with Eli.
Yep.
They didn't treat him well.
That was so.
But this guy is
But
fucking...
here's the crazy thing, P. I was saying... So this whole story, I told you, I said it on the radio. I gave my version of it on Power 105 or something. And people were giving
First
me
of all, when you say radio, aren't you on a TV show now? Is that a gig you're doing too?
Yes, I'm on NFL Network.
Nice. Every Sunday?
It's like a couple Saturdays out of the year. I'll be back again top of the year doing some stuff with them every weekend.
Shouts to them.
Shout out to NFL Network. But when I said these things on Power, people were like, on my Twitter bugging, yo, don't bite the hand that feeds you, talking about. And I'm like, yo, I'm just giving you my perspective on how this all went down. And then when it happened to Eli, which granted, obviously happens to Eli, people are going to flip out and give their opinions. But now I'm sitting back like, I told y'all, like, this is how they transition us. When they feel like you don't have it anymore, they're going to transition away from you quickly. And whether that's good or bad, it is what it is. You just got to take it for what it is. We have no control over that. If the owner or the GM or the coach of the team, it wants to go in a different direction, there's nothing we can do.
Sure. But it can't be explained better?
I agree 1,000%. That's the part. I'd rather you be honest with me and be like, look, Vic, we feel like you ain't got it no more. We're going to put, X guy in the game now because we feel like he's got a little bit more pop. I'd rather you say that. I'd be like, all right, coach, I'll take that. I'll work on my game week in and week out to hopefully prove to you that I still got it. But I understand that. And then obviously when the year ends, we'll go about our business that way. But keep it 100 with me. You know what I'm saying? That's the biggest thing with me.
You ever have a conversation with Mara or Tish?
I had a conversation with Mr. Mara upon being released from the Giants, and he was extremely sincere.
He's fucking media trained.
He's like, yo, this is one of the hardest things for me. Like getting rid of guys like you or letting go of guys like you is something that will never be easy for me because you shape the culture and you shape the brand of this football team, and and there's nothing. There's nothing I can say or do to change that. You know what I mean? And you shape our football team, and I want to thank you for everything that you've done. And I was just like, yo, that's dope for him to say that to me.
That's real dope.
It was real, and you know what I mean? So
I like that. Listen, who was some of the other teams that you came close to? Can you say?
Yeah, I can say. I think it wasn't New Orleans. It was Minnesota was one. I just didn't want to go all the way out there. Chicago was obviously there, and then there's another team I'm forgetting. I'm forgetting. There's one other team. Yeah, we'll remember. But Chicago was like, okay, they got a young guy, Mike Glennon. They just paid him a bunch of money. They believe in him. He's going to be their guy. The guy's 6'6" and can throw a pretty good ball. I got faith in him. The receiver roster was like, okay, I can fit in here. I feel like I got a chance to play on this team. I have a chance to, climb this ladder and play on this team. And, that's why I chose the Bears. It was like, okay, they got a pretty good roster for me to come in here and be competitive and play.
Did you get a chance when Eli and the whole, I know you went to the game afterwards. Did you get a chance to talk to him and tell him your support? Or
no, I didn't get a chance to talk to him after the game. I texted him though when everything, the week prior to him playing, when the week they benched him, I texted him that week like, listen, man, you always got a friend in me no matter what happens from here on out, man. And it's pretty messed up what's going on. Just my personal opinion. But just know I'm here for you if you ever want to talk.
Did he answer back?
Yeah, and he answered back and was like, yo, man, I hope you're doing great. He was like, I appreciate the love, I appreciate the help, and I'll see you soon.
Yeah. He said, I ain't worried about these hoes.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. I just made $22 million last year.
Yeah. Yo, that guy is fucking media trained, bro.
Oh my God. Like,
yo, you ever hung out with him like in a cool environment where he can let his head down?
We've had a couple beers. I mean, at the Pro Bowl in Hawaii, him and his brother have a little soiree in their suite and whatnot, and we have beers and chill and kick back and talk, and they're cracking jokes, and Eli's always cracking jokes, and it's fun, man. It's fun when you get, especially with Peyton, man. He's hysterical, especially you give him a few and you start drinking and just kicking back and relaxing. He starts telling stories and starts going in the archives a little bit. It's pretty funny.
He's a good investor too. I found out that he obviously owns, I think, like 20 plus Papa John's in Denver, and he also owns I forgot what else, but he owns a definitely, and that's what's cool. Whatever you do, you're a rapper, you want to have investment. You're you're an athlete, you want to have investment. So
absolutely,
it's like the internet. So let's take a quick break, man. We're sitting here with the one and only Victor Cruz going over the journey, man. Yo, the journey is long, man.
It's real.
Fucking
man.
Journey is long.
It's real. That's why we call it a journey.
Be right back. Don't go nowhere. Cheer.
What up? It's DJ Static Selector, the show off, aka the Peter Griffin of hip hop, and you checking out my man Premium Pete. Pay attention.
Internets, and we're back sitting here with Victor Cruz. Listen, I'm enjoying the journey. I like there's so many different moments of where you are that brought you to where you are today. Mm-hmm. But even like we talk off air and we're talking about like, dealing with, say, social media. Yo, because of, first of all, let's talk about me and you met. I'll never forget. We met at some sneaker event. You were doing this Young Whales. Mm-hmm. It seems like a lifetime ago.
Jesus, Young Whales.
What was Young Whales about? Explain for people who may not know.
So Young Whales, myself and my former teammate of mine with the Giants, he was on the practice squad while I was there. His name's Nate Collins. And we started a brand during the lockout because, the lockout came after our rookie season, and we were both undrafted, and we made the team So it was like, bro, we ain't got no money. Like, we need to make something up right now that's gonna be able to get us at least a little bit of bread so we can just supplement until we get back on that field. So we started a brand. It was called Young Wells. We linked up with this dude named Josh Kimmerling, who was our designer. And we started. We were off to the races. I think our first run we made like 6 pieces or something like that, and just put them out there, promoted it on literally social media. And this was before social media really. I think it was just Twitter. Like, it wasn't, Instagram wasn't a thing yet. Facebook was definitely there, but it was like just Twitter. We were tweeting it out and retweeting and making sure to, just putting the word out there as much as possible. And we sold out of that stuff, put it back into the brand, made more. So we had it for like, I want to say 2-3 years until we were at that kind of that crux, that crossroad, whether we should, how do we invest real money in this now and make it a thing, or just, create a different business model. And then that's when it just kind of fell apart, because I was, winning Super Bowls and, winning a Super Bowl and caught up in all of that and have a lot of time to spend going through Young Wells and Nate and, and having as much input as I possibly can. And then I started getting bougie and shit, wearing Gucci and all this other stuff that I was like, yo,
how do you get
I kind of
bougie?
outgrew the brand.
How do you get bougie? Is it by signing the contract?
Bougie.
Well, you can get bougie.
You sign the contract and you want different things. You
Yeah.
you experience different things. You have different friends that show you different things on clothing, travel, art, just different things. And you're like, yo, I want that. And you start buying things and you're like, well, I bought some things I had no business buying, like, just little things like that you just open yourself up to as you, get older.
Those Gucci slippers, the loafers. Remember Kanye said, what did he say? Those loafers really hurt my pocket.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the most you ever spent on something?
Oh, man.
Clothing-wise.
Clothing-wise, I bought I don't believe, let's be clear, I don't believe in paying full price for anything.
Of course. And I totally understand.
If I ain't seated, it ain't right, in my opinion.
You know what sucks when you get seated? You don't want to buy shit anymore, man.
You get so jaded. But I'm not, I try not to be like that as much as possible. But it's tough, man, because you just like, I'm not coming here spending $185.
But if you do buy it, you know that you really fuck with
it. And that's what I do. I buy the things that I really, unless somebody tells me, yo, I'm going to get you these, wait for them in the mail, blah, blah, blah. Cool. But if I see it and I like it and I'm like, I got to have it right now. I got to put them on. So, like, that's how I am. Very, and this guy, I'll tell you, that's why he's laughing. But shout out to my man AJ who's in there.
Big AJ.
But yeah, man, it was always about, and I'm a guy that still loves and enjoys the process. Like going, okay, I heard these is out. My sneaker dude called me, yo, I got these in, and I like to go there, drive there, physically see them, touch them. Like I like going to the mall. Like I like feeling my clothes. I like touching, what's gonna be on my body. I just like having it in front of me. I shop online sometimes, but I'm a in front of you type of person. Sure. You know what I'm saying? So I still enjoy all of that stuff, man.
And you've been fortunate to wear and work with some top brands. And it's fun. And definitely, and I shouldn't even have to say pause or no homo, but you have like a perfect body that fits these fucking clothes, bro. You know what I mean? Like I've seen you in pictures. I'm like, this fucking guy is like a commercial ad. No, really, for like, really crazy. What's this, who you deal with? Ricardo Tisci, right?
Givenchy, yeah.
Givenchy, yeah, there you go. Talk about it. But even being able to get stuff from them on the arm, who would ever figure?
It's insane. Like a few months ago, Prada just sent me a custom book bag. It's just a regular book bag, but it has VC embroidered on it in like some dope little colorway that they put on there, and it has a Prada. Like, who's getting seeded gifts from Prada? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, if you would have thought in a million years that I would be getting seeded from Prada, I'd be in an international ad campaign with Givenchy. If I'd have my own sneaker with Nike, like
Let's stop right there. How does that even happen?
I knew the sneakers would get you people.
Of course,
I knew the sneakers would get you.
Because people see the sneakers, whether they like them or not. Which I thought they were. I thought in the beginning it reminded me of like so much of like a Yeezy, but then I really started to like, yo, those pink ones are insane. But here's the thing:
thank you.
People don't understand how that happens. Yeah. How the fuck did you get your own shoe at Nike?
Man, so it was a lot, man. So in terms of just getting the shoe was a lot because, they didn't at that time at Nike they didn't understand the connection between fashion and sports and football specifically, and how I was kind of just changing the mold in the terms of who the football player is anymore. Like, the football player is that same basketball player that you're watching going into that arena, but he just has a helmet on. You don't see him. We're not paying attention. There are no cameras on all these guys. Like, think about it. Like, guys like Kelly Oubre, right, for the Wizards. That guy, our Kelly Oubre on the Giants isn't getting filmed walking into the arena. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what he's wearing, but there's
it's become a thing.
Now it's become a thing. You know what I mean? Now there's triple the amount of cameras of NFL guys coming into the stadiums. And I think at that time, Nike didn't really understand that, especially the football department. They got guys that have been there for years, that the way they do contracts is look at a chart and say, okay, Calvin Johnson got this much. And, you know, in our eyes, you're not better than Calvin. So, okay, we'll give you right below that, and you're going to get this. Like,
you'll get less materials?
Yeah, like, that's not how you do a deal. You got to do it case by case. How is this guy influencing the culture? How is he moving product? How do the people receive him? You know, what market is he in? Obviously, that plays a part as well.
And having probably a product line manager or somebody in that field that believes in you.
Exactly.
That may know somebody that fucks with you, like, yo, this guy's good, he gets it. Or, you
exactly,
know.
100%. Somebody to go in there and fight for you.
Exactly.
And that's what, I mean, I ended up having a guy like that, and he fought for me, and we made it work. And the first initial process was like going in, talking about all my favorite sneakers, all my favorite colors, all my favorite things growing up. I talked about my grandmother's plastic covers on the couch.
You put your father in there.
I put my father in there because he was a fireman, and we put his engine number in there. And we put in memory of Mike, which was my dad's name, in the shoe. That's my favorite shoe by far. I can make 100 shoes, God willing, from here on out.
Cruz.
Air Trainer Cruz. So in order...
Why a trainer? They told you what you were able to make?
No, it was a play. So one of my favorite shoes was the Air Trainer 1.
Okay, nice.
That's why that midsole and the tooling is basically the Air Trainer 1 kind of modified. We kind of chunked it up a little bit. But it's basically the Air Trainer 1 midsole, and then we built the upper from scratch from there. So that's why we called it the Air Trainer Cruz, which I thought was dope.
Now, getting your own shoe is amazing. Mm-hmm. Did they give you... Were you able to make money with them?
Absolutely.
Okay. Because sometimes I say that because Nike, for a long time, will hit you off for 50 pairs and give your friends, but you ain't make no money because, you know, they're really going to give people who, well, now, like, that's why I give Adidas credit a lot, and I speak about this, where they've given people more chances to make money. Even if you're not, say, an athlete or an entertainer, you know, like Kanye performs, he don't shoot hoops or he don't throw touchdowns.
Exactly.
But
he said, what Kanye say? He said, I might not pick up a ball or throw a football,
but I perform every night.
I perform every night.
Yeah.
I got the Garden sold out. He was in the Garden. He said, I got the Garden sold out.
You ever met Kanye?
I met Kanye twice, yeah.
You say
super
anything
chill, super humble. Obviously in that setting, a controlled setting, he was just chilling. We chopped it up. He was cool. He was cool.
Where the fuck were we? Sneakers. So they came out. They came out a couple of different colorways.
Came out. We dropped a colorway, which wasn't my favorite idea to drop. We dropped a shoe every month, and we dropped 4 different colorways to start. But even before all of that, man, I don't know if people remember, but the lead guy on designing my shoe left and went to Adidas halfway through designing my shoe. So they almost scrapped my entire shoe because once the new team came around and we started to finish this shoe, the higher ups at Nike thought, oh wait, this guy that began this shoe is no longer with us, and he was part of a conglomerate that went to Adidas. So is this shoe like, you know, and because it resembled, or people thought it resembled a Yeezy so much, they thought it was a slap in the face. They thought he was making it as a slap in the face to the brand, and they almost scrapped it. So the guy at Nike that had to vouch for me was like, no, but they sat down and made this from scratch. Like, they sat down and really talked this thing out, the things they love, don't love. Like, they sat down and got this together. So after a while, it finally came to fruition, and that's when the pairs dropped, and we did, you know, the wheat color, the gray, the wheat gray, the
blue.
Black, and the blue.
Didn't another pair end up in Marshalls?
Yeah,
How the fuck did that happen?
The red pair, too. So the red pair was
you buy
supposed
them
to
all?
drop first. I went to every Marshalls physically possible and bought all of them, dog. Or as much as I can. Some dudes made out because I I mean, I couldn't get to like upstate New York or some, you know what I mean? So they made out. So basically at Nike, so the red ones were supposed to drop first. And that's when the whole hoopla began with the designers leaving and going to Adidas. So Nike was like, okay, this isn't happening because we don't want to make anything red that resembles a Yeezy right now in this moment, which is cool. But they had made all the pairs already. And I'm sure they were just sitting in a warehouse. And then in the warehouse, after they're there for a certain amount of time, I'm sure they get scanned and they say, okay, scan this number, these are going to Marshalls or whatever the case may be after they sit in a warehouse for a long amount of time. So I'm imagining that's what happened. And then next thing you know, my sister, I get a call. It's going to sound like I'm bougie again, but I was getting a massage and I get a call and it's my sister and she's like, yo, I'm in Marshalls and I see your shoe here. And I pop up and I'm like, what shoe? She's like, your shoe, like your Air Trainer Cruz, your Nike shoe. And I'm like, no way. Send me a photo right now. Sends me a photo. I literally pop up. I see this red shoe, and I kind of zoom in, and I'm like, "Is it a fake?" Then I zoom in more, and I'm like, "Yo, that's the real. That looks like the one I got upstairs." So I beeline, literally get up from the massage table. I get dressed. I beeline to all the Marshalls, buy them all, buy as much as I could.
How many did you think you got in total?
I ended up between myself and my man Siraj from Sneaker Room.
Oh, shout out to Siraj. He'd be upset if you don't mention him.
Yeah, he'd be 1,000%.
I forgot that we had to at least mention him one time.
Yeah. So between him and I, we kind of like, got pairs for each other and then like people we wanted to take care of. So I would say we got roughly like 20 to 25 pair that we just took in whatever size they were. I was just snagging them all. So
is there another shoe coming out with them or?
We're working. We're working on a specific contract that is conducive to me not just playing football. So we're working on that right now, and then obviously more product is to come. I'm trying
is
to
it
get
only
some
with
clothes,
Nike?
Man. Yeah, from an athletic sportswear perspective, yeah, it's just that deal is just with Nike.
When you say clothes, what do you mean?
I want to do some apparel. I want to do a shoe, obviously, another, hopefully the Air Trainer Cruz 2. And then I want to do some apparel to go with that, whether it's a tracksuit, whether it's a destroyer jacket, whether it's a hoodie, anything. I just want to be able to give people the full Victor Cruz look. I want people to, if I'm, I love fashion so much that I want to give people everything. I don't want to just keep giving you shoe after shoe after shoe, which is amazing. And trust me, that's a passion and a blessing that I'm able to do that. But I want to give people the full spectrum.
Well, you definitely surround yourself around, it's funny too, because when I met you, like I said, Ryan Grant introduced me to you, and he was like, I think it's funny too, because at that time, I don't think that you were friends with so many people in the sneaker game like that.
I wasn't.
I remember, he was like, oh, you got to know Pete.
Yeah.
And so we met and we kicked it, and then it's like, but you found, I'm glad that you found where you exactly needed to be. Mm-hmm. And because like even becoming cool with Ronnie Feg and his journey progressed so much through that, and you've seen and learned.
Yeah. And
now when you talk about wanting to do clothes, someone who knows how much it costs to get this
100%.
or that. And that's what I mean about surrounding yourself, what I was talking about earlier, with people who have done it.
Yeah.
It helps you fail less. Failing's nothing wrong with failing if you learn a lesson out of it. But it literally helps you fail less when you're surrounded by all these people. And to be honest with you, bro, I've known him for a long time, Ronnie. Mm-hmm. To see his, and I spoke about this with Yu Ming. I had Yu Ming who never talks. Mm-hmm. You know Yu Ming, right? Sneaker News, Stadium Goods.
Yeah, I know Yu Ming. Yeah,
he's a quiet motherfucker. He's from the Triads, trust me, bro. Him and Ricky Tang. But he was like, yo, his story is probably one of the most successful in sneakers. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy to think that, bro. I remember.
And if you think about the amount of time from,
it's not long.
Even just David Z, but just if you would want to start with Kith, from the inception of Kith to where it is now, it's only been 7 years.
Bro, I'll give you an example. Many years ago, he invited me and Chris Vidal to a David Z release that he did.
Okay.
He was happy that me and Chris Vidal were there. That motherfucker would not be happy if me and Chris Vidal were there today. I'm happy. Even same thing, like you speak about Siraj, man.
Yeah.
You know what, man? That kid, he's been grinding, man. And I'm glad to see that too.
Heavy. Because
here's the thing. In this game, I think we try to show and prove so much that we forget to enjoy the blessings that are upon us.
I say that to Ronnie all the time.
Yeah.
I'm just like, yo, sometimes you got to take a minute. right? I mean, I'm sure you got obviously work out the wazoo. I'm sure you got ideas in your mind that you're putting on paper that's getting facilitated, that's constantly bogging your mind. But you got to take time to smell the roses a little bit. It's okay. It's okay to, sit back and enjoy the fruits of your labor a little bit, because if you don't take that time to appreciate that, you won't appreciate the work. And you want to continue to appreciate the work that gets you to do those things of leisure that are just amazing, and you get to enjoy those things. That's why you put the grind work in, but you got to have the moment to sit back and say, wow, I accomplished this.
Sure.
Let's refresh, let's restart, and then let's keep it moving.
What's one thing you really admire about Ronnie?
I think just his work ethic. I mean, the dude is working nonstop, no matter how big his company grows, no matter how many collaborations, no matter how many more people wear his clothes. I mean, I just saw a picture of Drake in his clothes, in his one of his
it's so funny.
today.
Me and Drake we used to deal with him back in the day when he was in David Z. You ask Ronnie, and you'll see pictures of me and Drake from back in the fucking day.
That's crazy.
When I was serving him, I used to be in retail many years ago. Him, Nico, Hush, all of them. Ronnie used to deal with them for Red Wings.
Yeah,
he used to bless them with Red Wings.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right. When the Red Wing thing was popping,
he was moving them. He was moving them to him. But yeah, what were you saying about Ronnie? We're saying that.
I was just saying his work ethic is the biggest thing that I take from all the collaboration, everything that he's done. His work ethic, even to this day, is still the same. He's still grinding. He's still putting that work in. Still connecting and meeting people to advance his brand and bring it to a whole new level.
Yeah,
I mean, the guy had, and this will be the last thing because I hate bigging this guy up.
Yeah. It's amazing the person who loves himself so much.
This guy's got enough accolades.
Pushed himself into outer space, bro.
Exactly. But any person who can do a fashion show, right, and have Nike, Adidas, Puma, and I don't know, another sneaker, Moncler, and Bergdorf, and Nike, just Nike apparel, LeBron James, Scottie Pippen. I mean, you have all these people from all these different competing brands sitting in the same place,
sure,
taking in your show.
Sure.
Like, that's insane.
You know what I'll say about that? When you have power, access it. Because you may not have power forever.
And the biggest thing he says to me, he was like, yo, like, now I've gotten to the point where I go in these meetings and I ask for the most wild shit. I just ask for...
Bro, I love seeing the things he does too. Like, meaning like, I'm sure he probably says, look, hey, motherfucker, you want to work with us? I'm going to bring 10 of my homies on a private jet to Aspen. We're all eating lobster and oyster and fucking, gabagool,
100%.
Like meaning
100%.
like, you can ask for things and you can stretch when you're moving it,
100%. And he's like, yo, I just go in there. Like, the biggest thing I thought he would ever do, at least to that date, was get the Yankees to take the Yankee logo off the hat and put a Kith logo on it. Kith box logo on a Yankee hat. I was like, yo, there's no way you're going to do that. He was like, yo, the only way that came about, I walked in the meeting and was like, yo, I want to put the box logo on a Yankee hat. And they said, okay. And I looked at them like, okay. Like,
pretty sick.
I just shot my shot and we'll see what happens. He goes, now I walk in every meeting shooting my shot and something's going to stick. You know what I'm saying? So it's just his work ethic, man. It's just second to none in that space. And obviously, he's reaping the benefits of that.
Sure. When you deal with a crew like that, not only just in that, in general, think about how many phony people have you came across.
Oh my God, so many. Still coming across them, especially.
Are you good at dealing with them? Because Jay told us to show you how to move in a room full of vultures.
1,000%. I mean, I have guys like my man Big AJ here, and God, because I can't say no, or I can't. I'm hard. I will always give that person the benefit of the doubt, because that's how I came up, right? Somebody gave me a shot to prove myself and show my worth, and I made the best of it. So I will never say no. But I can definitely, even though I'm not saying no, I can definitely spot, the BS from a mile away. And then if I can't spot it, guys like AJ or my other guy, my other boy from back home, all of my friends are this way. And they will point it out and they will tell me, yo, that guy's full of shit, or yo, you don't need to be with that dude. He did X, Y, and Z, or whatever the case may be. These guys are on it, because you're never gonna walk away from an experience with me and be like, yo, that guy was an asshole, or he was, he treated me in a negative way. I always want to treat everybody the same.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And be that guy.
What do you think about, we spoke about, when we came back from the break, spoke about social media. And we spoke about how people, you put some up, they're fucking rough, bro. They're rough
crazy.
on you. Okay? I've seen so many people, we'll bring this back out right. Yo, Victor Cruz doesn't want to play football. He wants to fucking work at Kith.
Amazing.
Have you ever answered back any of them?
No, I mean,
Okay, so
I've
answer
started
back.
to, man. I've started to, but I don't need to answer back to them.
No, I know that, but
no,
that's
I
not
know. I'm
funny.
just saying, but in general, even when I read it and I'm like at home, I laugh. I'm dying laughing. They was like, yo, Vic don't work, Vic doesn't have a job anymore because he's full-time at Kit.
Yeah, bro.
You know what I mean?
I
It's
used to
pretty
love
funny, though.
social media. Had me dying like you would put like we're back on the field, and he's like, yeah, no catches this week because he's worried about fucking Mercer pants. That shit had me dying, man.
It's funny. The crazy thing is the kids that make up these memes and do these things, they have no idea how talented they are.
Sure.
They have no idea the amount of wit that it takes and the amount of
To make people laugh?
to make people laugh and to come up with these slogans that are funny, witty, the photo, and to do that consistently. There are guys that do this consistently that are consistently funny. You know what I mean? So I just take it for what it is. I just laugh at it, man. It's all jokes.
Favorite player of all time, NFL.
Favorite NFL player of all time is Deion Sanders.
Ever met him?
Met him a bunch of times. He's prime. We call him prime now, but he's a G. I mean, he's just been through it all. I mean, the guy. This exemplifies how he, the type of player he was. He played in a game with the Falcons. No, played in a game with the Braves, and the baseball game was a day game. Played in the day game. Took a helicopter to the Atlanta Falcons practice facility because they had a night practice that day. Landed on the auxiliary practice field. Got off. Went to the locker room, changed up, and practiced that day.
Sounds like something Just Blaze would do. some stupid shit.
Crazy.
Again, I told you, I've reaped some of the best relationships in my life. Never big money, man, but I still feel it's coming. But I remember, being at a party or something, talking to, and like, yeah, I just got off the helicopter, and I just got here, like, what the fuck?
Helicopter?
Deion, listen, Deion, man. Deion is the
bad
man.
man.
What about when I bring up somebody like Michael Strahan? What does that mean to you?
Oh man, I mean he's the one that transcended what it is to have a post career. You know what I mean? Like obviously you got guys like Terry Bradshaw and different types of athletes that have gone on to have successful post career careers or post careers rather. But no one did it like Stray. No one for him to call his last year and to win the Super Bowl that last year. I mean. Not a lot of guys get to do that. And not a lot of guys get that opportunity to do that with a team to do that. And obviously that coupled with his charm and wittiness and, just his personality and his willingness to be outside of the box. I think he was never scared to be funny or do something funny or do something that was out of his comfort zone. He was always up for it. And I think that's what set him apart. And I think, the joint with Kelly and Michael kind of started him off so you can see who he is. And then he just took that and ran with it.
What about somebody like Justin Tuck?
Justin Tuck, man, he's a guy that was always always the smartest dude in the room. Always a guy that knew everything, knew, how he needed to act, especially as a captain. He knew the beat of the team. He knew how the team moved. He understood it. And he understood what it was to be a Giant. He understood, the prestige that came with that, and he honored that, and he still honors that to this day.
Listen,
and we always
man.
have we used to have sneaker battles too. We used to come in
He was size 14 though.
yeah, and it was impressive what he could do, but I had to outshine him a couple of times. No, but what we would do was we would we'll pick a Jordan number that week, and we got to wear as many pairs that we have from that number that week. So if it was a Jordan 7 that week, we got to wear all Jordan 7s. And if you ran out, it's like, oh, I got more pairs. And you know what I mean? Like, I'm a sneaker king. We battle week to week on who would win.
I like that.
So, yeah, we have fun with it.
After football, if you don't go back, what do you plan on doing?
Obviously, still.
You're investing. You got the app.
I got the investments. I got the app. Obviously, fashion's gonna be there in a
like
major
modeling
way.
or
both modeling, I hate the word
Consulting?
modeling, but yeah, I
Consulting?
guess modeling. Consulting with different brands. Potentially.
No, you make the fucking. I told you, no homo, man. I mean, nothing I have to say is, but you make the product look good. You be wearing a pea coat with a scarf. I see you out here all
I've been
bougie.
trying to do it. I've been trying to. It's cold out there in New York.
So doing that.
But yeah, so the fashion thing is one. Obviously, doing some analyst stuff, continuing that world. But I want that to be like the analyst stuff. I don't want it to be stuffy. You know, that could be in a suit behind a desk talking for 2 hours. I don't want it to be that. I want it to be hands-on. I want it to be fun. I want it to be casual. I want it to be myself. And I think Good Morning Football on NFL Network allows me to do that. And there's some other things that I'm working on in the pipelines that'll continue to express that.
Nice.
Obviously, still continue to do my podcast, which obviously you got to come on.
That's right. Now you do that with what's his name, Paul Rivera, right?
Paul Rivera.
He used to work at Nike, right?
He used to work at Nike for years. I actually met him right after that when he worked at Beats by Dre directly after that. Mm-hmm. That's where I met him.
That's called the Victor Cruz Show.
It's called the Victor Cruz Show.
Do you like podcasting, man?
With people, I do. It's just a form of, obviously, like we talked about this off air, but just therapeutic. I mean, just come out and just talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. Give your opinion on whatever you want to give your opinion about. And no one can tell you whether you're right or wrong. No one can tell you whether, the best thing about podcasts is you can mess up. You don't have to like read a script and read it perfectly. Sure. You know what I mean?
That's why I feel like advertisers are starting to really, I mean, they haven't came in fully yet. They're there, but trust me, they haven't fully came in yet. Because who could read better than a host that has unfiltered like that?
Yep.
We used 100%. To, we used to just read out ads like, listen, I'm going to tell you why you fuck with this company for.
Exactly.
Like, you don't hear that, like, where people tell you that.
100%. And that's the language we speak, right? We don't speak come to Foreman Mills. And, we
Get yourself a Brussels sprouts.
Come to Burlington Factory. Even though they took the coat away, they still got coats. I saw that commercial the other day. I'm like, what? Like, who cares about coats at Burlington Coat Factory? But, like, that's the language we speak, right? Every day with our friends, we're like, yo, like this brand is dope. Let me tell you why you should holler at this brand, because they got, cargo pockets and whatever the case may be. Sure. That's how we talk. So when we hear it that way, it triggers our brain, it triggers our ears, like, oh, that sounds like my brother saying that. Let me listen up. Who is this? What is this about?
Sure. Especially when you're giving out like free content too. I think that people appreciate all the times and the episodes, and that and then they're like, oh, if this guy's getting some paper from it, let me support it. I think the fans of of content you create believe in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But listen, internet, check out the Victor Cruz Show with Paul Rivera.
Paul Rivera.
And it's on Uninterrupted too. Now, what is that? LeBron's? Is that LeBron or Mav Carter's?
So that's you can say both. Mm-hmm. They both pretty much run the platform, and I'm also an investor in that platform. Also.
Really nice.
Yeah. So I'm just it's basically a platform to get whatever you want across, like whatever. Obviously, there's podcasts, there's different formats, there's sports. Obviously, I can literally pick up my phone and talk into my phone and give my on the spot opinion. It's basically built so the sports athlete has a voice, and it's a lot of times we get subjected to the media and the beat writers writing what they want to write or extracting. The meat and potatoes of an article of what you said and taking, a little snippet, making it a headline, and no one reads the articles. Everyone just reads the headline and develops an opinion. Sure.
It's, again, to bring up Just Blaze, he brings that up all the time that people take something you say and then turn it around to something that, wasn't even what you were talking about. And for probably just bait click, you know what I mean?
Exactly, that's it.
But it's, you speak about the media, and this is my last thing about the media. Okay? And, internet's will kill me if I don't ask you. People have seen you walking around booed the fuck up with Carucci.
Okay.
Are you dating? Is that something you're doing?
We're friends. We're definitely.
I mean, it's not like I'm breaking something. This is something.
This is.
No, I mean, I'm not breaking it. Yeah.
This is out. We're dating. We're friends. We're enjoying each other's company. She's a really cool chick, a really good girl. It's obviously still very early, but the early stages.
How does that even happen?
Well, we have mutual friends.
Okay.
We have some mutual friends that venture from New York to LA and things like that, and they pretty much put us together.
Nice.
I can say that. She came to my private birthday party in LA, and that's kind of where it all started off.
Cruz, man, he's out here, man. He's out here living his life, man. You better make sure Chris Brown don't pull up on you, bro.
Oh, man, don't do this.
You give it that Sue-woo. Sue-woo. Yo, you getting all the bloods after you, bro. Nah, I'm playing with you.
Don't do this.
But as we wind this episode down, there's two things that I want to go over. You won a fucking Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I asked this to Carl Banks. I met Lawrence Taylor in a fucking bar, me and Combat, man. Rest in peace. What is it like winning a Super Bowl?
I think, Pete, next to having a child,
Okay.
it's probably the next best thing.
It's funny you put it like that because then I could understand.
100%. It mainly because you meet so many players, right, that never made it to a Super Bowl. Some players never even made it to the playoffs. Some players play 15 years, never even made it to a playoff. Some dudes
Played their entire career.
Some dudes playing the Super Bowl 4 times and lose them all. You know what I'm saying? Like, could you imagine being in the Super Bowl 4 times and losing
Buffalo
every
Bills,
single
bro.
one?
Buffalo Bills.
Like that's crazy. So like to be in a position to win one, and then to actually win one, and then to have a touchdown in that game, to dance salsa in that game, to be from Paterson, New Jersey, and win that Super Bowl and hoist that trophy. That's why every time they show my face hosting the trophy, I'm just like, yo, there's no, like, I'm almost in disbelief.
Oh, what? You mean the pictures from the Super Bowl?
You know when I'm like holding the trophy and I got my hat
classic,
to the back,
bro.
and I kind of make the face like there's no, like, what? Like, I'm in complete euphoria, G, and it's just nothing anyone can say to me or anyone can do at that moment to take me off that horse, B, because most guys don't do this. And for me to do it in my second year in the league, it's unparalleled. Unparalleled.
You know, you talk about the highest of highs, and then we talk about the lowest of lows.
Mm-hmm.
The night you had your injury.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I feel like the world stopped that at that time, and it was so weird, such a freak accident.
Yeah.
Do you remember like ever like thinking like that it was over at that night? Because I'll be honest with you, I knew you for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I never seen you like you were crying
Mm-hmm.
from pain.
Mm-hmm. So I knew it was more than just pain from like the injury. It was more so pain knowing I was done for that year, knowing that I was going to require surgery. I've never had surgery like this in my life. No one's ever sliced open my knee. You know what I mean? Like, so I was just thinking of all those things, and I was obviously next when I was in the training room. I just was like, going through all these things in my brain, and I was just like, yo, I just need somebody to tell me I'm okay. Like I need somebody to tell me that I'm going to play football again. Like somebody just come over here, calm me down, because I was like almost uncontrollable. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, yo, somebody needs to come in here, preferably a doctor, and let me know that I'm going to be able to play football again. And then the head trainer came over to me, shout out to Ronnie Barnes, and he came over to me, walked over to me and was like, yo, you're going to be able to play football again. And I immediately, almost instantaneously calmed down, and I laid down on the table, let the medicine kind of kick in before they shuttled me off to the hospital. Mm-hmm.
How tough has that been to overcome that? Like personally, we spoke about depression.
Yeah.
When you were young, like meaning that 2 years that you kind of got lost before you were maybe going into football.
Yeah.
You said, "Nah, I didn't have no depression." Did that bring any depression?
A little bit. There were definitely moments where it was just like down, and my leg is in a straight cast, and it's just moments where you're just thinking to yourself like, man, am I gonna play again? I know Ronnie Barnes told me I will, but the way my knees feels right, and I can't even bend this thing. Like, how am I gonna play again? You know what I'm saying? So you just go through all these different thoughts, and then my daughter's young at the time. She doesn't understand. She just wants to jump on me and play, and she doesn't understand why I have this I have a boo-boo on my leg, and she's just daddy's not the same. You know what I mean? So it was that, and then obviously watching the Giants from afar that next year, not being able to help, and it was just tough, man. And just being and then coming back from that injury, running, jumping, the whole thing, feeling good. And then the calf thing happens the next year, and it's just like, man, I can't get out of the hole. I was feeling good. I'm running, jumping, everything's good. Now the opposite calf hurts, and that took a while to come back from. Ended up putting me on IR for the rest of that year.
Was there times that you wanted to play and they wouldn't allow you to play?
No, because I just didn't feel right. I mean, I just knew that like my calf wasn't right, or my knee wasn't right at the moment, or when it was right, I was playing, and when it wasn't, I wasn't. And it was just like, I understand my body, and I'm not gonna put myself out there if I'm not 100%. You know. And they knew that, and they knew that I cared that much about it, and they honored that for sure.
Hey, listen, your journey is like I said, been crazy, and I feel like we kind of told it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna leave this last one on you.
Okay.
And don't not give me no media trained fucking question.
God. Okay, talk
Not
to
the same,
me.
man. What do you want people to remember Victor Cruz by?
I want people to remember me by my actions. You know, the things I did out there on that football field, the way I greeted others, the way I tried to shake every hand in that stadium, man. I tried to shake every kid's hand on that sideline. I try to connect with as many people as possible because I knew this moment doesn't last. Not because I didn't have faith or not because I didn't believe in my own self, but I just knew that football ends. This team, your tenure with this team ends at some point. So while I'm here, I'm going to touch everybody I need to touch, pause. I need to holler at every kid, at every mom, at everybody that wants to autograph a photo. I want to be able to touch all the people so no one can say, hey, man, I saw Victor Cruz and he didn't take a picture with me or he didn't do this. I was like, yo, I want people to be like, yo, I saw Victor Cruz and he was dope. He took a picture with me. He took a picture with my son. He signed something for my son. He took, you know what I mean? Like, I do it all. Like, I don't care about any of that stuff. So I want people to take, to see me and be like, yo, Vic is the people's champ. He's from here, played here, won here, and we'll forever love him and remember him for that.
Hey, listen, man, when you really think about it, a kid that grew up in Paterson, New Jersey, plays for the New York Football Giants and wins a fucking Super Bowl.
It's insane.
Forget about everything else. That's an amazing thing.
It's crazy. Thank you, man.
Listen, internets, make sure you check out the Victor Cruz show. Make sure you Instagram at Team Vic, right? And Twitter at Team Vic.
And Twitter at Team Vic, yeah.
But they didn't have Victor Cruz?
Nah, I was just always Team Vic. I mean, my friends, I guess quick story, my friends, so my junior year of high school, all my boys came to see me play like in unison. They would always come, but they were actually like paying attention this time. So in the junior year, in the first half, I had 4 touchdowns. And they were looking at me come off the field like, bro, we didn't know, like we knew you were good, but like we didn't know it was like that. It was like, oh, you like the whole team. And then they started calling me Team, and then they started calling me Team Vic, and it was just like, oh, that kind of stuck. So there's a good crop of my young, friends that have known me for years that still call me Team. So that's where Team Vic came from.
Team Vic, listen, internets, holler at him. Let him know that the journey is real. Don't be telling him, don't be hitting him up, asking him if he fucking works at Kith.
Exactly.
Or if he gets 30% off. Don't worry about that.
I get 50, actually, if you really want to know.
Internets, Victor Cruz. Cheer. Internets, if you enjoyed that episode, I want you to reach out to me. Email me. Tweet me, okay? Email thepremiumpeteshow@gmail.com. At Twitter, @PremiumPete. @Premium Pete Show on Instagram, @Premium Pete Show also. Let me know what you like. Let me know what you didn't like. And also to all my small businesses or big businesses, no matter how small or big you are, you want to advertise with the Premium Pete Show, get at me. thepremiumpeteshow@gmail.com, and we'll figure something out, okay? Now make sure you subscribe, rate, and tell a friend to tell a friend. And I'll see you next episode. Cheer.